I had the privilege to be one of the first to enter into the doors of St. Mary's Armenian Church in 1953, and I've been here ever since. I attend church every Sunday. I take communion every Sunday. I taught Sunday school. I sing in the choir. And St. Mary's has been the beacon of light in our nation's capital, because this is the government of our whole nation.
In the late 19th century, mainly with the help of American missionary organizations, the Armenians began coming to the United States. A rug merchant, Bohos Gasparian, was the first Armenian to settle in Washington, D.C. in the 1880s. In 1915, with the Armenian genocide and mass deportations, more Armenians found safe haven in the United States. In 1915, the Washington chapter of the Armenian General Benevolent Union, AGBU, was established. In 1932, a ladies' auxiliary was organized by the late Archbishop Revont Turian. 2 years later, the community established its first parish council.
Well, there was a parish council that was in existence many, many years ago, and we used to have church services at St. Agnes, St. Thomas, and St. John Episcopal churches. And we would have bazaars. And at St. Agnes, I can remember the bazaar in 1949. They had chodag for 5 cents and paklava, I think, for 25 cents. And a leg of lamb was $5 back in those days. And they collected money, and then they would have church services twice a year at Easter and at Christmas. And that's how the money was collected with the parish council. And when the time came when they were looking for a church, and they bought the Baptist church here, it was just a basement. And the Tenley Baptist Church moved down to Tenley Circle. So we just had a basement.
In 1954, the community purchased an unfinished structure for $32,000 at the intersection of Fessenden Street and Wisconsin Avenue. Soon after, Sunday services began regularly, led by the visiting clergy and deacon-in-charge Krikor Vosganyan. By the end of the first full year, the church held weekly services, conducted sacraments regularly, commemorated the 40th anniversary of the Armenian genocide, and began the task of constructing a new sanctuary. Prominent architect Miran Mesropian, who worked on many buildings in the nation's capital, including the 2 famous hotels near the White House, volunteered to lead the design and work associated with the new sanctuary.
A Baptist congregation had begun building their church, but then they decided to move, but this was already here, so he had a rectangular base that he had to work with.
9 decades after establishing a religious presence in the capital of the United States, Father Josep is the pastor of St. Mary's Armenian Apostolic Church of Washington, D.C. In his office room, there Josep has the historical painting that hung on St. Mary's altar from the first day the church opened its doors until the most recent renovation.
Icon of Saint Mary with Jesus. This was the icon that was on our original altar. And then it was severely damaged because it's very old, it's antique.
The painting was severely damaged, but last year it underwent significant restoration and will continue to bear witness to the history of St. Mary's Armenian Church for generations to come.
And in diaspora, there are many roles that church plays. Of course, church is a place where we come to learn about our identity and also continue and develop and protect it and pass it to the coming generation, our national identity, our culture, our heritage. But also it's a place where we come to worship God.
First Sunday that I came to the United States, first thing I did, basically, I find an Armenian church. And I was, again, lucky enough that there was one in Washington, D.C. And since then, I've been married in Armenian church. My kids were baptized Armenian church. This is our community. We like to have it, and we like to continue forever.
So we have, of course, we have different organizations within the church umbrella. We have our school, Shnorhali School, which basically teaches Armenian and religion to our younger generation. We have our ACYA, Armenian Church Youth Organization, where our children come to mingle together, to learn and know each other. We have our Avak Society, for example, Ararat Avak Society. We have our choir. Women's Deal is very active. We always say they are the backbone of our church.
What was the first thing on there? The treasurer's report?
Continuing in the best traditions of the Armenian Ladies Auxiliary Group, the Women's Guild meets regularly. The members of the Women's Guild in the 21st century bring their service to St. Mary's through organizing various cultural and spiritual events. They oversee the planning and preparation of food for the biannual food festival, plan religious and cultural events, and engage in activities in support of our church.
I think that's a really smart idea.
We actually enjoyed the Sunday school and Armenian school here better at St. Mary's, so I got involved. I joined the choir, I joined the Women's Guild, so I'm active in both. And I was on the Women's Guild Executive Committee for 4 years as treasurer, back more than 20 years ago when my husband was still alive. And now I'm on the Women's Guild Executive Committee again. I'm the secretary.
Okay, see you later.
The Armenian food festivals have become one of the visiting cards of our community, especially in the neighborhood of St. Mary's Church. Those days, more non-Armenians than Armenians come to our church to enjoy the traditional food, dolma, shish kebab, sweets, you name it. The former Secretary of the Navy, Paul Ignatius, the highest-ranking Armenian American in the executive branch of the United States government ever, and a highly notable community member, enjoys the Armenian food of the church today.
My daughter, who is staying with me at the moment, is out at the Armenian church while we're here talking. Shish kebab and with bulgur pilaf and eggplant, yalanchi dolma. So she's going to be coming in an hour or so with a lot of good Armenian food. They do this twice a year, as you yourself know, and I think a lot of the women from the church prepare the food. And it's very good. It really is quite good.
We work hard to make sure that the Shnorhali School and the church is a place where teachers and families come together to ensure that the children entrusted into our care grow to be productive, confident, compassionate members of our society.
I do not come from an Armenian background. I am married to Archer Savaslian, but I do have experience with the Christian faith through my CCD classes and through courses I took in college, and it's really interesting to bring that into the classroom. I'm helping to teach one of the 6th grade classes along with my daughter.
Hi, my name is Greg Kumkumyan. I teach Sunday school religion here at St. Mary Armenian Apostolic Church. I teach 4th and 5th grade students. I graduated from this Sunday school, and my father was a superintendent at this Sunday school in the 1970s and 80s.
"2022 is a festive year of celebration for the Armenians of Washington and the United States. Our St. Mary's Armenian Apostolic Church is celebrating the 90th anniversary of its foundation. This is an important milestone for looking back to our millennia-old Christian heritage as Armenians and as proud representatives of the fabric of American society.
We are happy to celebrate 90th anniversary of our church, which is a very important milestone, with unity to ensure the continuous success of our church for future generations.
In a way, it's kind of the birthday of the church, and this year our church, our community turns 90 years old, but it's still young and it still has a lot of energy.
It's the flag of our nation, of our people, for last 90 years. So the contribution of the church in the life of our Armenian people here has been enormous. And it's a great pleasure and honor to be a part of 90th anniversary celebration.